And if we don't stand for our convictions, then what the hell are they?
Absolutely.
What
And
are
and in that position, that was a role where literally every year, even before I started, every year they had an opening in that department because no one could stay in there. No one could work with her. Like everyone on campus knew how this person was, and yet they still just brushed it under the rug. They didn't say anything. And I'm just like, so of course I felt scared. Like, no, I can't go to
they?
HR. I can't do this. I can't do that. Because if everybody knows it, I mean, come on, you see there's an opening here every year. Could have been like every 8 months. Why isn't anyone doing anything? So I was afraid to say anything. And so finally, like I couldn't take it anymore. And at that point, I'm like, look, the same way I got this job, I can get another one. Whatever happens, happens.
Yep. I don't know, guys. You guys want to dig in?
Yeah, yeah, why not? Yeah. So like one of my work traumas was like I used to like run like operational system, like well, it was just like you're supposed to just do this system, et cetera. But then like the way my mind works, it's like I always try to optimize things. So like I always try to make them a little bit more efficient or things like that. So I will make the system a little. What I think and what was measured, what was like it made it more efficient. So I'll bring it up to the managers, the heads, and then they wouldn't accept it, they wouldn't like it. And then I just in my head, I was just like, I'll go home and I'll just keep like thinking about like, oh, like and just like bringing work home, which was like it wasn't well for the job, it was terrible because it was like I'm at the lowest ranks, and it's like I don't really need to bring it home. Like I used to just like do like calculations at home just because of like just the way that my brain worked. I was optimizing, right? Um,
Mhm.
and then I brought it up to like the main boss one day, and then I think we had like a 2 hour discussion, like going back and forth. And then it started getting like a little bit loud. And then we went to his, like, it started getting a little bit loud because I was like, yo, then come with me and do the work with me. Like, come here and like do it with me. Right. And like he was just saying no or nothing like that. And I'll show him like the actual like footing steps of it. Cause like I will walk 10 miles a day at work, like 10 miles a day at work. It's like, why do I have to walk 10 miles a day at work if I can limit that down to like literally
Mhm.
half or even less than half? So I'll try to show those measurements to the boss, and he didn't like it. So we had that 2 hour discussion, went back and forth, and it started getting a little bit louder. And we went to his office, and in his office got a little bit more like heated discussed.
Mm.
And then he said, like, I remember one thing where he was like, "Oh, I just want to just throw this chair," and I was like, and I was ready, and I was like, for me, I didn't really care if I lost my job right there too. It's like out of fight or flight, I do fight more than fight more than flight because I'm like, I don't care how big you are and things like that. And then after like the whole discussion is like, I feel like you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, literally. So after that whole discussion with it, it's like I kind of just, I just kind of just like not stayed quiet, but like there was like little beefs that went on. But then I think I wanted to call HR and do that, but I didn't want to ruin I didn't want to ruin his own career. And I was like, I had to have a little bit of grace and mercy. Maybe I didn't know like what his traumas were or like why he responded and reacted in that way. Just because his personality was just tough. Like he had a tough personality.
Mhm.
Like I'm not gonna let that scare me because it's like that thing that roof type of personality just doesn't do that. Like I need like there has to be more tangible physical things, right? Um, so I didn't want to call the HR nothing on him, and I had a little bit of grace. From there, he like kind of like calmed his personality, but it kind of just like ruined my like work performance. I just wanted just to go
Mm.
just kind of do the bare minimum. And then when I got to work and I was doing the bare minimum, I wasn't getting like stimulated. So I had to like I had to figure out like my own tasks to do. And like I used to say like, oh, I'm not gonna do these useless, inefficient tasks anymore. I'm just gonna do my own thing and just like and just like work with the team that around that also agrees. Cause it's like the work needs to get done anyway. It doesn't matter how it gets done. It's just
Mhm.
a matter of just getting it done. And if I could get it done in a way that's a little bit more efficient, then I could then it's just getting it done. Like the principle, it's just the principle of the work getting done, not the principle of how we must do it. Like they wanted to control like the how it was getting done. And I wasn't gonna accept that because it's just like I still got the work done. Um, so I just did the bare minimum from there, and I was like, oh, I don't want to work at this. And I was getting like so close to like leaving the job, and it was a great,
Mhm.
like the people were great, like the, it was a great place. Like we had managers, not too much of leaders, but still like meeting other leaders at the store, like Wendell, like that was an amazing connection we met at the job. But I guess like one of the traumas that I pulled from that was like not wanting to speak up anymore, like not wanting to tell the
Mhm.
boss anymore what to do. I'm like, his own destruction would be his own destruction, but
Mm.
I'm not gonna let it destroy me and make me exert more energy than I have to exert. So I'm just gonna do the bare minimum because I went from top performance then to just being like bare minimum, which still outperformed everybody else. And
Mm.
it was just basically just being at bare minimum, so I just wouldn't like get in trouble for anything. It's like you guys are not gonna have a say on like like if I'm not doing work, 'cause I'm doing the work. They can't fire me if I'm not doing the work, and they can't fire me just 'cause for talking. Like,
Well,
right? It's just like,
it's funny, Kevin, because most of the time it's not even the system, it's the interpreters of the system. And
Mhm.
as you can see, Tia, you can probably talk about, we can talk about this because this is a very big issue. There's a threat, and the threat is it's actually a threat about interrupting your well-being physically. That's a threat. If somebody's threatening you, now what is more I would say more powerful, the fact that he didn't hold himself accountable and call himself out, or the fact that you, like, the Lord says, revenge is mine. Which one is more impactful? Because here the responsibility of the leader is to recognize when you're wrong and to rectify.
Mhm.
That, I believe, speaks highly about somebody's values and morals and ethics. Because if he was to dignify himself and bring dignity to you, even if the discussion got heated, that's not an excuse to threaten anyone.
Yeah.
And that tells you the kind of people that we have a lot of times confused in these places of work, where you have real bosses, you have managers, very little leaders, very little. The company, I've been in many companies, and I can say I can count it with this hand, like how many leaders I really met and that has really
Mhm.
inspired me and they listen not to be defensive. They listen to understand. They listen to learn. They listen to love, because that's the key. Listening to love. Do you love that person that's talking to you, regardless if they're different, if they think different than you? Who cares? That person needs dignity. And if you're there to not cause more traumas that they can be carrying outside of the job, and now you're creating a hostile environment for them because you want to be at peace with your career at the price and expense of others.
Mhm.
To me, it's like, this is why I always say, like, sometimes, and most of the time, it's not the system, it's the interpreters. And unfortunately, people leave people. Just like when you're in a relationship with a girlfriend, or with a boyfriend, you leave them because eventually you just get fed up. You're like,
Yeah.
this is toxic for me. We can't see eye to eye. I would love to hear, Autumn's perspective because I know she probably has some fire things to say.
Well, listening to you guys speak, it makes me think about touching on upon earlier what you were mentioning about finding your voice. I think a lot of people, especially in the workplace, they struggle to speak up for themselves out of fear or retaliation, or just because they don't feel like people are going to listen to them. And
Mhm.
I was just going to say that, Wendell, too. We all have dignity, especially in the workplace. Like, we're all coming together to get a job done, um, and we're all working hands on a team. So, like, we're all coming together to get the end product met. And I think a lot of people forget that. And I think envy is a big factor in the workplace. Like Tia, as
Mhm.
talking, like the woman sounded like she knew you had this great potential
Mm.
and like was envious about it. So she made your life difficult. And sometimes, we have to rely on our superiors in the workplace to kind of look for moments like that, to kind of help those who can't speak up or notice when someone is like trying to sabotage somebody else. And I would hope that we have more leaders emerge who kind of pay attention to these social cues or just to make it a welcoming atmosphere, because at the end of the day, if we're all there to get a job done, no one's going to want to go to work if they're being sabotaged, or no one's going to want to go to work, like they can't speak up because they're going to throw a chair at the wall. Like, you know, I think that needs to be discussed in the same way we're mentioning like people learn differently, even going back down to educational level, people work differently too. And how do we all come together to accept our different learning styles, our different working styles, and meet each other where maybe one of us is lacking and the other one is excelling at, to just kind of like understand and meet each other. I think so many people get blinded by money that it all goes out the window and they're like, you're just a name on a checkboard to show up and do it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Can I say one more trauma that I had too?
Go ahead. Shoot for it.
So it's like when we hop into the wedding industry, like into our beginning years or stages, I will ask like, hey, can I get the weekends off? Because like I'll do the full week, but like just the weekends for the dates, I just can't do them because I'm trying to make bread in the wedding industry. So I would talk to these managers and I'll tell them over and over again, like, hey, like some days they'll do it and then some days they wouldn't. And then I'll just call out. I was like PTO. So yeah, so then but then after a while, like after like certain moments, like one of them which told me like don't call out, and I was like, I don't, like, I'm telling you this because I'm like, I don't want to shoot you in the foot and I don't want you to shoot me in the foot. So it's like there's enough time where people could get scheduled in where you don't schedule me in on these weekends, because it's like I'm telling you, so it's like I'm not shooting you in the foot, so I don't call out, and hopefully like you don't shoot me in the foot by putting me on schedule because this date's already in. So I'll tell them, and we're just in the beginning stages, so it wasn't like as successful as we are now. Because like now like you can tell like we left the retail world, so it's here now. But the manager, like, I remember him telling me like, oh, you're not gonna get there, like you're not gonna be there, like you're not gonna do too well in that. Good luck. Like, yeah. And I was like, oh, this guy, like, who is he to tell me like I'm not gonna be where I'm gonna be? Like, what? Like, I'm gonna get up to the top and I'm not gonna let anybody stop me from that. Like, I'm gonna get there. And if he doesn't believe in it, like, kudos in a sense. Like, yeah.
People have a hard time really evaluating potential
Yeah.
because they don't even